Hello, storytellers. It's Storytelling Ron. I'm here to talk about creating a pagan plot or adventure in For the Lord RPG. Just another sort of variation on the same thing for GMs to help them understand how to create adventures for a For the Lord missionary-based Dark Ages, um, adventure. So obviously, the main thing is you want to create a villain. You want to create a villain, and I did a video on making witches recently. And this is some examples of magic that they would use. And it's basically anything that affects the characters, and sort of giving them penalties. And they obviously get to resist it. The basic resist is a 12. And that you can change that based on whether the witch wants or sorcerer wants to make it stronger with spending a magic point, or it's just a 12. Or maybe they have, or you could just say the sorcerer has an extra ability where their resistance to their spells is a 14. Again, when I'm reading this stuff, historically, everyone was different. Everyone, and even the paganism, they made up their own, evil spirits or things locally at the local level, on the ground floor. So these are just examples of, black magic, just a damage die gives a minion a D4, or gives a minion a D4 to their combat. So, and denouement roll. The denouement roll is very important. That you as a GM, you kind of start rolling that towards the second half of the combat or whatever, after like the second or third round, whenever you feel like it's necessary to roll. And whenever the minions or the villains get hurt, like say half their hit points or one of them drops, or the missionaries get the upper hand, you start rolling denouement so that they start surrendering or retreating or backing off or whatever. And then, of course, if there's a witch or sorcerer there, they're going to give them, a bonus to that roll. Or they'll just have an ability where they can command them or control them, to fight to the death. Those are the things that you can use my examples, or just come up with your own. And keep it simple. Keep it very simple. Like, they get a D4, they get a bonus to their roll, or they just all fight to the death. They're all, heathens. Could be the power. That's the power of the witch. So they got to attack the witch, and then of course all the minions are going to protect the witch. But these are just all examples of things you can do, and they can affect the vitality of the missionaries. They can affect the traits of the missionaries. With a curse or a puff of poisonous smoke, or a puff of poisonous whatever, a splash of acid, in the eyes, a foul smell that reeks, and they are at minus D4. Just anything that gives them a penalty to their rolls, lowers their traits maybe. And again, they all get a resistance roll of T12, TR12. Or penalty to their rolls. And the penalty to the rolls can be a temporary thing or an actual grievous wound. Like a poison, disease, and an actual wound are all grievous wounds, so that they don't go away easily. And for any of these curses, the duration is not, there's no I don't want to do duration anymore. So the duration is just what you think it should be, and then how the missionaries recover from it. So if they get acid splash, they have to recover by clearing it out and using something to counter it. I don't know if water is good, or if they have salt, maybe that'll work. And of course there's something, but they gotta describe some way. Chalk, if they got some chalk, I don't know what, but if they gotta figure out a way to clear it out, that's when it goes away. Or if it's a foul puff of smoke, then they have to get it out of that area to clear it up. So it's so the duration is like that, and same with curses too. You can kind of decide: is the curse strong? Do they need to power of prayer? Do they need to all sit around and circle, pray together to get rid of the curse? That kind of thing, to when that curse ends. And again, for the most part, the missionaries are very resistant to this stuff, as opposed to the non-believers are very susceptible to this stuff. So that's why they're being controlled much easier by the witches, and not until they are saved will they have a better resistance, but not a full 100% resistance. The only 100% resistance I can tell of is that Christians don't get possessed by demons in the Bible and historically, unless they are weakened in some way. And that's something too I have in here, where the witches can do, like dissonant whispers. They can do foul bitter curses and that really unnerve the clergy or the knight or whatever. So you can do that. Okay. And the vital rituals part is really just to describe, say, what is it that they're doing and what other extra powers do they have, like potions, making, rage potions for their followers, making the love potions that I've mentioned before, giving them better vision at night, like they can see better. And that to me is like, some sort of steroidy drug that they give their warriors that maybe gives them an advantage to, so there could be a plot where the barbarians, they if they come out at night and they have just this heightened sense of whatever, like a cocaine heightened sense that everyone thinks they're demons, and they pretty much are, and they may have extra things like that. So that, and the movie The Northman is a great scene in the beginning where they're all dancing around the fire. That's a ritual, and they're all getting ready to fight, and, getting all bestial, and I bet you they take something. They're probably taking something, and then they go off and by 4 or 5 a.m. they're attacking, and the people in the village are all tired and sober, and horrific. The poor Christians. Okay, so and that's exactly what you're going to do here. It's funny. I did this swarm mob horde rules, but I don't really feel like I need it based on the combat. The combat is very dangerous, even if they're experienced players. And it's really cool. I can put regular people up against them, and it's still lethal. Anyway, but I'm going to keep that in there because obviously, at some point, I hope to do like big battle skirmishes in this game, but we'll see. Alchemy potions for enforcement. So this is just an example of the things that witches and sorcerers could be possibly make for the villain, for their followers, to make them stronger and scarier and more demonic. And then this chart right here I have in here is to give you like a basic feel for the different levels of what you can put up against them. So the minions and the critters are basically a D4. If a D4 maybe is the role that you might have for whatever it is, some ability they have or whatever. And their main trait's going to be a +2. So that'll tie in with the weapon hit, +2. Their vigor. The vigor in this game is the hit points. The vigor is just the bad guy hit points, and vitality is the good guy hit points. Same thing. I just like making it difficult, but descriptive. So they have a D4. A D4 is the hit die for women and for smaller critters, and the D6 is the hit die for men, warriors, whatever. And the men start off with 6 plus D6 normally, and then their aggression. So that's 6 plus D6 and their aggression. So usually when I make a warrior, I'll say like an average warrior, it'll be 6 plus 3 is half that in D6. So 9 plus their aggression would be 2 or 3. So to me, a 2 or 3 is sort of the average, decently aggressive, average person that is conscripted to be a warrior. So a 3. So I have a 3 here, so that their average is going to be 9, 12. So 12 is the vigor of an average warrior type person. And for a female, it's going to be 4, 6, 6. About half, I would say. About half. 6. For the average woman, 6, 7, maybe 8. If they want to be a warrior type, like a scout, rogue type, they can have a little more, but not much. And then, and again, they could increase it too, but it's D4 every time. So it's just not as productive for them to be warriors, because you're going to go up against men. And so I want that reality in there because I don't like the fantasy that women are just acting like men combat wise. If a woman wants to have a heroic fantasy, I want it to be the way a path of women in real life, but but exaggerated. We want to exaggerate what we can do as heroes, but I don't, this whole paganism that men and women are the same is ridiculous. And I want women to pursue things that that shine for women, that are examples for women. Art is supposed to reflect real life in the sense of showing us being heroes, but heroes in the sense of our identity. And there is an identity difference between male and female that I'm going to cling to until I go before God. So you ought to too. Okay, so Uh, so this basically, like I said, is giving a chart of to give you a feel for what they would basically be like, and you could create. I mean, I could just say this is all the warriors that are fighting. The big scary bear has these stats right here. I don't even need to go look anywhere else if I wanted to. And then these are the creature abilities. They're examples. You know, you could change them around, change it up. Brute. So it's just like, wow, they're so big. They're going to get a plus D4 damage, like the bear or something. But you can, and the D4, whenever I have a D4 anywhere in the game, they're in this rules. It means it's upgradable to D6, to D8, to D2. You know, so pounce. You know, I've got just different things in here that are just suggestions and examples. And GM sanctioned means yes, you can make up your own. You know, come up with anything. Oh, change them around, and that's the true for animals. Animals will have different abilities in their life. They will kind of program and experience something and then start using that. I mean, you know, based on their physique and instincts and all that. But there can certainly be different. Two different bears can certainly have different ways of fighting. Not on the average they won't, but you know, you can certainly do it. Oh, where's my thing? Oh, I went past it, I think. Okay, so this is all the creatures. All right, so we're gonna do another fun pagan plot setup. So I'm just gonna go through here and roll the dice. I start with village activity. So they're usually the plot is to go into a village or settlement or whatever and to plan a church. But first you got to figure out if you can plan a church and what's going on in the village to, you know, if they're going to be resistant. And obviously you want to make it somewhat resistant. I'm going to use the full dice for each of these, but you can do you can say if since they're all beginners, just roll a D4 or, you know, for a lot of these tables, or roll a D6 because you don't want it to go all the way up to the high life. But let's just go crazy here and do, I'm going to do a full D12 here down with activity up to D12. Oof, 12. So court life, civil, and lordly activities. So this is going to be a town, a city like Milan or Rome. And in the dark 6th century, man, these places are ghost towns. Sort of. They've been ransacked several times, back and forth. This comes right after the Gothic Wars, where the Romans and the Visigoths and Ostrogoths were fighting the Romans, and then the Byzantines came in to help and were fighting the Goths. And so it was back and forth, all these pirate war, you know, victory type things, costly battles, and then plagues came in. So there was and everyone's malnourished, you know. So Rome at this time has been ransacked a couple times. There's going to be a lot of empty buildings. That's intriguing. I'm going to start making. I have these drawings of these homes here for small villages, but I definitely want to do a Rome campaign. And there's many crypts and tombs in Rome. I mean, there's plenty of ancient burial sites and rituals and pagan temples, probably all hidden away, because I know the Christians sort of cleansed them of their pagan temples at that point. But there's plenty of underground dark. So that's a really cool, you know, fun, dark, sinister thing where you're not necessarily planning churches, but you're rooting out the pagan plots in these empty cities that are taking, you know, they're probably going around stealing people's babies, you know. So for family friendly, maybe they're stealing them to then raise them as their warriors. That's kind of my simple symbolic way of showing what pagans do to children. They take them to turn them into warriors and slaves. So you got to go rescue them. So that's the simplest and easiest plot of all. So whatever this story is going to be, it's going to be in, let's say, Rome or Milan, or Ravenna got pretty big, and so did Venice. Venice, I think at this point was still sort of a river, you know, like a lake town type thing. I think Ravenna got pretty big. I think I'm pronouncing right, around a little, you know, quickly right after this. But I don't know for sure. But this is an amalgam of history, so you can kind of mix and match, you know, the periods of time and what you want to do in there. Okay, so what is the local pagan activity in this that they're going to, now obviously there's probably tons of them, but for the church is in Rome, let's say, has discovered a plot, and they want the missionaries to go find out what's going on, you know, and they know which area they want them to go look in, or maybe there's a witness or someone. Anyway, we'll see. I have no idea what's going to happen here, so let's do it. 7. Feared natural tree or spot, pagan protected. So I definitely don't want to go outside the city, because if it's city court life, feared. So it can be just a spot that the pagans protect. So it could be a well, it could be a tomb or whatever. Well, we're going to find out actually. Let's just see. Okay, so there's that. So the pagan motive. Let's roll a d8. Next, a 6. Ooh. Finding power seeks black magic. Okay, so this is a powerful group. So I would say some senators or some leaders in the area have a location that they know gives them power, and they're going to protect it, and they're now going to start doing demonic stuff, like summoning a demon type thing. Yeah. All right. So what is the local disposition of the locals in that area? What do they feel? Did they warn the church? Are they secretive and not telling the church, and whatever clergy they sent there has disappeared? 3. Ooh, evil as chaff, tends towards selfish needs, can be manipulated. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Tends not to use violence. Okay, so like a greedy merchant, but will if they can get away with it. So assassins and stuff. They surrender to save their own skin. They have feelings of worthlessness. If affirmed, may lead them to conversion, but rarely. Okay, this is getting pretty dark and sinister. So this is just this is examples relating to the 12 up here, and then I kind of think I should move this around. I'll just leave it where it is. I know, kind of whatever. Okay, so location source. Okay, so this gives me an idea of where in the city, what kind of a thing. Because now I know it's in the cities. I just need to see what sort of place. So I'm gonna roll a d12. 12. Okay, old hidden Christian ossuary and church of a saint, probably desecrated. Okay, so they took over a church, and the ossuary is where they bury saints, like people that were followers of the church. So these people have taken over that and have desecrated it for their paganism. Some church, and I'm sure there was plenty of churches set up in Rome, and probably like house churches, some sort of house or merchant church that was very established for a while, and then now it faded out. Okay, let's just go on. Tomb or lair traps. That's just suggestions on how to set up tombs or traps and the basics of it, which I think in this one they're going to be. There's definitely going to be some. Master crafted items. Okay, that's just to give you examples of items. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and add one in there that either a villain is using or they just have, and maybe that's part of their worship. 6, light armor, 1 less burden, minimum is light. So I'll probably give that to the warriors. They have some really elite warriors with light armor, I guess. That's but that's kind of handy. Or that could be a gift that the church gives to the warrior there, or person there, or maybe the nun, or maybe they're worried about them, so they give them this light armor. The church does that. Treasure. I'm not too worried about the treasure right now, but I'll just roll it, see if it'll help me. 5. Local merchant goods cart. Okay, so it's a merchant. A merchant is running this diabolical plan. Okay, so that's it. So I think that's a good start. I mean, in Rome, there's a merchant who we believe is not following the edicts of the church, and he has a church that he has helped support, but that church has not been successful. They have been teaching some wrong things there, and we need you to go. And we sent one of our brothers there, but he has not returned to us. And this is in a criminal area of Rome, and it's probably just down the way, because they're probably all in Rome, where you're at. But they need you now to go there and see what is amiss with this old church that was once run by clergy, and now the clergy are not there anymore, and the merchant seems to have taken over, or something like that. But it's obviously going to be a tomb in there, a crypt. The merchant villa in the Rome. It should be crowded buildings, a lot of empty buildings, some assassins or evil. Okay, tends towards selfishness, can be manipulated, tends not to use violence. They surrender, save their own skin. So that's, yeah. if they can get away with it. So they'll probably have some assassins and guards, and they're powerful. So they could easily use the town guards to tell them to guard the area. So they'll have some town guards, and not necessarily, and it could be private town guards, not like the city town guards, because remember the place is kind of empty. So that's a good start. Feared natural tree or spot, pagan protected. Okay, so we're not going to have like a demonic thing, but they want to have a demonic thing. They have power though, but that's fine. So we'll have they can have a magician, or just a merchant and some warriors. Let me see, who would they fight? The merchant, who's going to be a coward, but he's going to have some warriors. They got to have some sort of, if they're desecrated a church, then if they've desecrated a church, there could be an evil spirit in there. What else? In the tombs, there could be. So the evil spirit will definitely do some sort of casting of curses on them, and I don't know. I'm trying to think. I mean, I think that's it. I'd have to. What I would do too is, once I created the crypt or tomb, using the little map pieces, I would start coming up with little more things. Probably more traps too in this one than. I would definitely make some cool assassins who have some sort of dark vision or ability, or smoke bomb or something that they can use, and they get their stuff from some other merchant or some other witch or sorcerer. That's not going to be in the story. But I could definitely do like some sort of scary assassins that are helping this merchant desecrate. If it's desecrated, then there's got to be a witch in there. There's got to be a witch or a magician that does the desecration and is leading the merchant and his family or whatever down this path. So that's okay. I'm gonna do one more real quick. All right, let's do it. Same thing. Roll for the activity of this town. This kind of tells me what size. 5, trade and markets. So that could be anywhere, any kind of larger town, but or even a village. Local pagan activity. Geez, 12. 7. Feared. Oh, I did this. Let me re-roll that since this is the same one. Well, I could do that one. Let me just re-roll for a different one. Feared local beast treated as idle. Okay, so that's pretty cool. We got a beast now. We can do a beast that they feed or treat, and I do actually have one like that in one of the adventures, and it's a dragon in the water. So it's it's a water dinosaur. One of the ones that looks pretty freaky deaky. I have in one of the adventures that they're about to encounter, and if we get a session done today, they might encounter it, or in a day or two, or session or two. But let's stick with that. Feared local beast. I always like to do the bear, maybe a big scary wolf, or prehistoric. You can make up some sort of prehistoric like creature that looks like a bearish, wolfish, or cross between a bear and a wolf. Not evolution, but just I'm sure there's plenty of other beasts that maybe have gone extinct because they, especially bigger ones. Anyway, so there's that. Let me see. Let's roll for demonic or motive here. Pagan motive. 2. Okay, so just desperate. So they might do more. So they're just desperate. They just want to appease this beast. They're afraid of this beast. They give offerings to the beast out in the forest or whatever. So it's not even like they're well, let's see. Modus operandi. Oh, I forgot to do that for the last one. Well, let me do that real quick for the last one. 3. Vengeance. Hates someone in the village. Wants to slowly ruin them by torturing their souls, destroying their loved ones, and destroying. Ooh, so that could be for the other one when in Rome, that the witch or the merchant vengeful on the church. I would say vengeful on the church and hates the priests and feels like they're torturing the saints that are buried there, desecrating their tombs, and anyway, that's pretty. Yeah. So let me do this one. 6. Tyranny. The desire to rule over others by force, by fear. These are lawful evil, and the most manipulative of all, using the other MOs to control others. pure malice. These are violence, death, for the followers in a religious sacrifice period. Okay. So they fear the local beast. There's someone there, the witch, local shaman, low level probably, who wants to rule over them, says, you must give to the beast. So it's sort of like a goon with followers. And it's almost like the St. George and the Dragon, right? And I hate that movie Dragon Slayer because it totally takes out Christianity or ruins Christianity in it. I almost want to do one specifically on that. I love the movie. Big influence on me, Dragon Slayer, when I was a kid, to do fantasy and hate Christianity. Really good job, Disney, whoever did that film. And yet the movie is based off of a true story, or not a true story, but probably a possibly true story, but a story that we Christians use, St. George and the Dragon, where we represent that the Christianity comes in and stops a lottery of human sacrifices, children's sacrifices for that matter. So that there is the perfect example of, for the little RPG, what kind of, story that we should do. And we're losing out because we're removing ourselves from what Christians did back then to really influence people. St. George and the Dragon, a Christian moral story, an adventure, a fantasy setting kind of thing. Princess, lottery, sacrifice, dragon, a knight. And yet Disney changed it to be, pagan. Okay, so don't get me started. Okay, so what am I doing here? Tyranny, just desperate, might do more. So this person is desperate. They think this beast is really a god or some sort of thing to curse everyone, and they want to tell everyone what to do. Local disposition of the people. Now, this is generally the sort of the people themselves and not the sorcerer or whatever. So, 6 listeners. So they're just they're defensive on every aspect. They just want to get along, and they're a little nervous, and so they're fears evil all too well. So they're just doing whatever they're told. If the Christians, the missionaries come in, and there's this shaman with his goons telling everyone they got to get sacrifice, and he probably is going to take, and he's trying to control the people. He's taking their money. He's taking to go then give to this beast, and the beast comes in and gets this food. So it's bears do that. There's plenty of today hunters use bear traps. So they put a bunch of food in, the bears come in and eat it. There's a regularity to it, and then they trap the bear, catch the bear. But this is kind of what they're doing. But they're not there to hunt it, they're just there to feed it. And so that it won't attack and kill any of their villages and farmers. But so this bear is getting bigger and scarier, and we'll be expecting what it wants. And I think that's it. Oh, let's location source. I kind of think I got it with all that, but let me just go ahead and roll. 12 old hidden. Okay, let me reroll because I just did that one. 4 local farmstead taken or allied. Okay, so there's probably a farmstead where they go out to do this. There's a animal prop or a ritual spot where they do all this by the farm. I mean, pretty simple. And that's it. That's a basic, nice, simple, quick evening. They got to fight this big beast. It could be a dragon. It could be a velociraptor type dragon too. It could be a giant lizard. Maybe it's taken over the farm, so the farmers have not gone to that farm. That it could be living there. Some sort of big beast. And you can come up with sort of, and I have plenty of options for big beasts in here. And that'll be a fun. And you could give that beast a little extra something. It could be a swarm. You could do a swarm, a scary swarm. You could do it could be a lion. I mean, come from it's a warmer climate maybe at this point, and a lion, a crazed lion, just migrated into the area. Tiger, they do have some in Europe. Supposedly fossils or whatever. It could be a scary dog. It could be like this hellhound, devil dogs, black hounds. They're just larger, sort of more prehistoric wolves of some kind. It could be, you could do an ogre troll, but I would save those for a cool campaign. It could be one of these, Thromos Draco. It could be like a giant bird predator, that comes down and lives, just took over that area and will attack if it's not fed. It could be a crocodile. It could be these guys, one horned brute that roams around the area, and they got to feed it. They got to give it something, otherwise it's gonna go for them. Then of course you got the Draken. You can make this, and you could even make this stronger. I made it kind of weak, but you can certainly up it up a little, or it could be a nest of these in there. A few of them that they're feeding it, but of course it's just gonna multiply. And here are the more demonic-y ones that for like if they do rabid poison stuff to create scary beasts. Okay, so that's kind of how you do it. That's how you set up your little areas. I obviously drew this for you if you want to fill this out. I'm trying to fill it out myself. I'm just working on it bit by bit. Or you can just draw your own out, create your own homebrews, and just kind of fill out each little area with little possibilities, and have them explore. It doesn't have to be historically accurate either. But I am personally trying to do it historically, not accurate, but amalgam of it, just to be kind of fun with it, and to kind of remind us of what it was like. And it's kind of a teaching tool as well for myself. All right. So I hope this helps. Just kind of fires up your brain juices to your GM juices, to your Grand Minister juices, to see what's the possibilities. And I'll probably do some more of these just randomly. So this is Pagan Plots, number 2, actually. I think I did one before. All right. Thanks for watching, listening. Hope this was helpful or something enjoyable.